Hello and welcome back. In this video we'll discuss how small molecules make up larger, more complex structures. So the basic small building blocks for larger biomolecules are metabolites. Those metabolites make up macromolecules and membranes, which make up organelles, which make up cells. So cells are made of organelles, which are made of macromolecules and membranes, which are made of metabolites. And of course, the cell is the basic unit of life. So we can see here some examples of how carbon-carbon bonds are used in building more complex structures. Here we have a linear aliphatic molecule. This is stearic acid. So stearic acid has this long hydrocarbon tail, and it has this carboxylic acid head group, and that's the characteristic of an aliphatic acid such as this, and we'll discuss these in more detail in the chapter on lipids. So here we have again this hydrocarbon tail made up of single carbon-carbon bonds, and of course we have carbon-hydrogen bonds as well in the tail. All right, so here we have a different example of a different type of complex small molecule. We have cholesterol, which is comprised of this ring, this cyclic structure, and it has also an OH group. So this is an alcohol, and we have a double bond here. And so this is an example of a cyclic molecule made of carbon-carbon bonds. Here we have a branched molecule that has several moieties in it. Here we have beta-carotene that has some branched moieties coming off of the main long chain. The chain has conjugated alternating single and double bonds. And so we have these rings at either end. So this is an example of several different moieties in beta-carotene. And the last small molecule that we'll be discussing is chlorophyll A, and so this is how carbon-carbon bonds can make up other more complex structures. Again, this is a planar system, so this ring is actually flat, it's planar, and this ring in chlorophyll contains a magnesium species, and so it has an ionic species in it, this large ring, and then it has the aliphatic chain here that has some branching on it. We have an ester functionality here, and you should remember all of that basically from organic chemistry. So what are the size of these things? To give you an idea, a nanometer is 10 to the minus 9 meters, or 10 angstroms. Okay, and that's a nanometer. So a nanometer is 10 angstroms. And if we discuss if we use modeling software later in this course, we will be measuring some of these species in angstroms. But in this particular chart, the dimensions are generally given in nanometers. So a biomolecule these are some examples of biomolecules and their lengths in nanometers. So here we have water, which is 0.3 nanometers, alanine is a half a nanometer, glucose is 0.7, a phospholipid is about 3.5. We have, if we move on, we have a ribosome, it's about 18 nanometers. Plant virus is 300 nanometers. Mitochondrion is 1500. An E. coli cell is 2000. And a liver cell is 20,000 nanometers, just to give you an idea of how big these things are relative to each other. Okay, so we see a chart here that explains how complex biomolecules are made of smaller metabolites. So in this example, carbon dioxide is forming pyruvate that forms alanine, which is an amino acid, and the amino acid is a building block of a larger molecule like a protein. So some more specific examples, we have carbon dioxide, water, ammonia, nitrogen, nitrate as inorganic precursors to these larger metabolites, which are pyruvate, citrate, succinate, and so forth. And these are small. These are also small molecules. Okay, and then we have these metabolites making up some building blocks for macromolecules. We have amino acids, nucleotides, monosaccharides, fatty acids, and glycerol. making up the macromolecules. Proteins, nucleic acids, like RNA, DNA, polysaccharides, and even lipids can be considered macromolecules, so the supramolecular structure of those. All right, and so we can see here that the small molecules make up the larger complex biomolecules. Here we have ribosomes, cytoskeletons. All these things go on. They are part of the cell. The organelles in the cell, nucleus, mitochondria, chloroplast, all of these things are made up of small biomolecules. Okay, in the next section we will discuss more about the properties of biomolecules and how they make up living systems.